Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Luna Capital from Devere Games. And Luna Capital is a puzzle optimization game where every single turn you're going to be taking cards and tiles from the central board in order to basically slowly build out your own personal play area. The reason you're doing, well, that is because of a combination of things all coming down to scoring points. You're going to be scoring points for basically everything you do. Every single tile you get is good in some way, shape, or form. The question is, how are you going to combine those tiles, and how are you going to slowly build out your landscape? Your landscape is going to be 3 rows. You're going to have rows 1, 2, and 3. You have to be mindful of the cards you take and the numbers on those cards, because you have to have them in an order, not a direct order 7, 8, 9, 10, but once you have 7 and 10, the 8 and 9 will not be going in that row. So you're trying to be mindful of the order, you're trying to build out 3 rows, you're trying to take specific cards with specific features, asteroids, things, or whatever on them, and then also you're trying to take specific tiles that will work well for what you're trying to do. And when you start the game, it's a bit of a blank canvas. Just take whatever tile you want, start working towards some sort of goal, but as the game develops, you're starting to build out the various things you're trying to score for, because everything will score. But the way you double down on specific features, the way you double down on specific tiles, the way you gather certain things in order to score as many points for escalating bonuses, that's where this game lies. So it's a bit about trying to take the right cards, it's a bit about trying to get the right bonuses, it's a lot about getting the right tiles, it's being mindful of the 3 scoring objectives that are going to be different game to game up here, giving you a different thing to go for as you play. You're going to rinse and repeat until you've, well, gone through all the tiles, played out all the cards, and that's Luna Capital. That's all there really is to it, except it really comes down to the scoring objectives. So let's go through a bit of a sequencing over here, because there is a sense of escalation to this game that I haven't really touched upon. Your first turn, you're going to go ahead and take 1 card. You're going to add 1 card, and my board's already partially set up, so the exact combination of things is not perfect here, but you're going to grab a card, you're going to add it to your board, and then more specifically, you're going to add it to your hand. You'll start with a few cards, and you can add more as you go. And then you'll play a card down. So maybe I'll take this card over here. I'll play this 6 down over here. So I took a card, I played a card, but I also have to take the matching tiles. So you have to be mindful of the cards you want, and the tiles you want, and the scoring objectives. And then that tile can go somewhere down the board. Let's go ahead and add it down here, where I'm building out a nice set of the little heart buildings over there. From there, we'll go ahead and replenish the tile and the card. Other players will go ahead taking their turns until eventually all the players have taken a card and a tile. From there, we'll go ahead and double up the tableau, because that's part of the escalation in this game. Across 3 rounds, you're going to have 4 turns every round, and so you're going to be taking effectively 12 turns, but each turn gets progressively, well, more, because you're going to start with having 1 tile on each depot, and then you're going to have 2 tiles. So for my next turn, when it comes back to me, I again have to choose a depot. Now, you do want to be mindful of this token over here. This will go to whichever depot you took from, so the next player cannot take from the same tableau. It makes sure that there's always a round of things in the way before you get there, although you could take that, but you have to pay a premium to get that. So on my turn, my next turn, it comes back to me, and I remember I wanted those heart ones. I still do want those heart ones, so I'll go ahead and take this over here. I'll put this 5 down. You know what? Nope. 5's going in my hand. And we'll put the 8 down over here. But I'm taking these tiles over here, these 2 tiles, putting them on my board. Again, I have those hearts. It's going to be very helpful for the scoring objectives. And I'll put this up here where it's going to play off my house over here. Rinse and repeat until there's 3 tiles. And there's 4 tiles. That's the end of the first round. So again, in the first 4 turns, you're taking 4 cards, and then 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 tiles. 10 tiles over there. You're going to do the same thing in round 2. The same thing in round 3, and that will be Luna Capital. 30 tiles on your board, trying to score however you possibly can, 12 cards in your tableau, and trying to min-max the cards, the scoring tiles, the various objectives, all in an effort to get as many points as possible, which brings me to the general, well, review of things and all that. Starting with ease of play. The game teaches fairly quickly. The rules are quick to go through, very easy to understand. You can teach it 2 players very easily, so the barrier to entry on this one is small. It plays fairly quickly. You're going to run roughly 30 to 60 minutes depending on the player count. I would say 60 minutes is a long game, probably closer to 30 to 45 minutes for a game, although again, it does depend on player count. And it takes up a very small table space, all things considered. I say all things considered because what you see here is what you would need for 1 person, but every other person is going to add 12 more cards that to be mindful of, so a 4-player game will already start expanding a bit, but again, nothing that overbearing. As far as ease of play on the negative side of things, the iconography, or more specifically the actual, well, art on the tiles, not really iconography, but the specific building features over here are not great. Not great at all, because one of the things you're trying to go through, I didn't really cover this heavily in the review part, in the overview part, but you're going for this scoring pad over here where you're trying to score everything. You're trying to score for groupings of different types of buildings, so the more you have, the more of a multiplier you'll get. You're trying to score for your various biomes and whatnot. Again, the more you have, the more of a multiplier you'll get. You're also scoring for your sets of biomes. The more sets of different biomes you have, the more of a multiplier scoring you'll get. You're going to score for your asteroids, you're going to score for money, you're going to score for your various houses. Those will have a variety of different options on them. You're going to be scoring for 3 points for every remaining card in your hand, so you want to try to get as many cards as possible, and then you're scoring points for the bonus cards over here. A lot of things you're scoring for, a lot of tiles you're trying to grab in the game, but that brings me to the little annoying part of the ease of play aspect, which is these icons on the tiles are tiny. And it takes time to see them at a glance. Well, you'll never see them at a glance. You have to be paying attention to them, or you'll start building out your board, not realizing that you've been grabbing the wrong thing or done something wrong in some way, shape, or form. Now, it does get better the more you play, but they're very small icons, very easy to mix them up. They're just a tiny little, but they both have hearts behind them. One has a triangle, one has a square. It is very, very easy to mix those things up. I do not like that part at all. And then past that, it also needs a good player aid in terms of this scoring chart over here doesn't function as a good scoring aid because you have to cross-reference it with the rulebook. You have the things listed over here, so you can hand everyone a sheet, you can pass this around, get a good general idea, but then how many points do you score for different sets of things? There's a bunch of stuff over here that isn't on the player aid, so some stuff is, but some stuff not player aid. The scoring sheet, some stuff's there, some stuff is not there. Overall, we'll get to the rest of my opinions about the game, but there are some minor frustrations around the way the game is designed, the tiny iconography, the tiny little icons, things like that in the game. As far as player count, it's a 1 to 4 player game. I have not played this solo, so I can't speak for the solo game, but I have played it at 2, 3, and 4 players. I would say they all play fairly well. 2 and 3 will be my sweet spot because the 4th player adds a little bit of downtime, but again, even a 4-player game you can get done in 45 minutes, so all player counts of this I've enjoyed, well, all except solo, which I have not played. As far as interaction in the game, there's not a lot of inherent interaction past the fact that you are going for goals, and once players get goals, other players cannot get them. So you can get them all in the same round, but then past that you can't. So there's a little bit of interaction in the sense of going for the goals, and then obviously there's some interaction in terms of taking cards and tiles. It doesn't really feel planned so much as incidental, though. It's not like, oh, I'm going to try to deprive you of that. No, I want things, I'll take those things, and if it happens to be the thing you wanted, well then you'll want something else instead, because that will be all you can get. As far as what I like, don't like, and things you should be aware of and all of that. Starting with what I like, this is a puzzly style of game, which is something I generally do appreciate. I like games that give you multiple factors to consider as you try scoring it out. Again, you have this entire thing over here that you're trying to go for. You're also trying to be mindful of this, and of course, you have to deal with whatever you are being dealt as the cards come out. So there's this constant balance of trying to do everything, trying to play your cards right so you can start laying out your tiles correctly, trying to make sure that you have the right sets, trying to have the largest of different things, trying to be mindful of everything, and I like games that do that, and that's no difference here either. I like that puzzle, I like that concept of trying to just do everything and then eke out more points than you because I did everything slightly better than you did everything. And I like the sense of escalation each round gives. That aspect that in one round you draw a card and a tile. Pretty easy. You put a card down, you put a tile down, fairly easy to get up and running. But then you draw another card and a tile, and more specifically you're drawing 2 tiles now. Then you're drawing 3 tiles. Then you're drawing 4 tiles. Your board will get more and more crowded as you go through each turn. What starts off as having tons of space to play around with suddenly becomes a challenge that you're not just trying to score as many points as possible, you have to put things down on your board and you are running out of space to place them optimally. So I like that sense of escalation. And then you move to round 2 and it resets and then escalates again. Then round 3 resets and escalates again. I like that aspect, and I like how it combines with all the scoring aspects, and the placement becomes its own little puzzle because of that. Because of that sense of escalation, this little mini puzzle of trying to manage 15 different things, trying to be a little bit mindful. Going back to the interaction part, where it does become a little relevant is if I see you're going for a particular type of biome or tile or whatever it is, then I should be slightly mindful of that because it means you and I might be competing for the same thing, and so that might be a bit of a drive early game to pivot and adjust. So trying to be mindful of that, trying to be mindful of the scoring, trying to be mindful of doing everything correctly, trying to get the various bonuses so that I can reset, clear different parts of the board, put down different tokens so that I can skip that rule about the sequencing of the cards. Lots of things to be mindful of and go for in the puzzly scoring aspect of Luna Capital. As far as what I don't like about the game, I don't like the art. I don't like the general art just feels laid back. And they're going for something over here. I'm sure it works. It doesn't pull me in. And then when you combine that with the accessibility issues, it means that the art's not just not appealing for me, but it actually obfuscates the clear aspect of trying to go for things. The art takes me out of the game, and just doesn't. I don't love the iconography. I don't like the general art. The game overall just looks fairly. I mean, the cover's nice. I like the cover. But the rest of the board just looks very dry and blah. And to be fair, this is the moon, and that is arguably what the moon looks like, but whether it looks like it or not doesn't make me particularly love the overall art aesthetic of the game. And secondly, the variability will be low in this game. The variability is going to come primarily from the fact that different things will come out different games inherently, but then also in addition to that, you do have the goals over here, so you're going to have a few goals that will mix up every round. This is a giant stack of goals, so it's not like you're lacking for those, but that doesn't really change the overall feeling of the game that much. Most of the feeling of the game will be the same, slight nuances to small variations of how you play things, but it doesn't feel like a different experience. It feels like the same experience with different goals, no different than having different tiles come out. It's just a slightly different challenge as what you're going for and how you do different things. Again, overall good, overall positive, but as far as variability, it is on the low end, and that can mean when I get to play 10, 11, 12 of Luna Capital, it could mean that it starts to feel a bit samey if they don't have an expansion or whatnot. Keep in mind I'm projecting outwards. As of right now, still enjoying this game. Spoiler to final thoughts and all of that. As far as things you should generally be aware of, like I said already, I like this because of the fact that it's a puzzly game that you're trying to min-max all these scoring stuff, but that might not be your thing. If you haven't enjoyed other games in this genre, games like Cascadia, games like Verdant, games like Overboss, if you haven't enjoyed games that give you a set of things to go for, and that's trying to score as many points as possible, I don't think this will be an exception. It's all about scoring points around a bit of a puzzle of how can you score points most efficiently. So understand that going in. And then there's no guarantee of balance, of things working out fairly for you or for the other players. You can have turns where the thing you want doesn't show up when you want it, versus other players seem to be getting what they want in ways that work well for them. Other players get combinations of cards and tiles that work well for them, and you have to fight an uphill battle. So if you don't want that feeling of, well, you just won because you got lucky, I mean, luck should balance out across enough plays, enough picks or whatnot, but nonetheless, there is that aspect to it. And then it's multiplayer solitaire. Understand that going in, again, minor interaction, but for the most part, you're doing your own thing, trying to score as most points as possible, while other players try to do the same thing, and then at the end of the game, see who, well, did that scoring thing better than everyone else. As far as final thoughts on this game, I really enjoy Luna Capital, which is not necessarily a surprise to me because I really enjoy this genre of game. This genre of trying to gather different puzzly aspects. The game plays quickly, it teaches quickly, it means it gets played a lot, it means it gets tabled a lot because of how accessible this game is. Playing well at a variety of player counts, being rewarding as you dive in, and having that sense of escalation as you build things out, there's always that pull to dive back in the next time, to jump back in and be like, well, no, I got 124 points, you got 143, I know I can do better, I just want to play it again. And you could, for the short price of half an hour, which makes this game very accessible and very easy to jump into it. I really like the scoring aspect of Luna Capital, and it manages to, it kind of does feel like it's playing in the same space. It feels like it could be a flat-out games design in the sense of fitting right along with Cascadia, Calico, and Verdant, but it's yet very, very different at the same time. It has its own space, its own place in terms of the puzzle it's trying to do, the sense of escalation, the way it has the board played out, the way you feel constricted at every turn as your board starts closing down, the way there's tons of things to go for. The biggest ping against it for me is going to be the lack of variability compared to some of these other games, but nonetheless, I'm still very much enjoying Luna Capital, at least where I am right now. For right now, this one's a 4 out of 5 for me. I really like it, I'm really enjoying it, it's going to fall right in line with those other games that I'm enjoying. There is the possibility that it goes down over time because of that sameness aspect. Again, it's a bit of I'm just projecting outwards. I don't know how things play out over time compared to Calico, for instance, Cascadia, for instance. Cascadia is my favorite of this genre, and this is below that, but it's close. It's a lot of fun. It gives me a lot of, what's the word for it? It just feels rewarding to build out your thing, and then given a reason to dive back into it again and again. Now, it's worth noting, one thing I didn't touch upon, is the game, going back to the accessibility aspect of things, the game does kind of want you to set up your tiles in certain ways, to have certain phases to your tiles. You can be segregating your tiles by player count and by the round they're in. And I have found that just adds to the setup and tear down times in ways that I don't appreciate or enjoy. And so I've just taken to dumping everything into a bag, and it hasn't changed our experience. It's worth noting, for disclaimers and all that, I've played this game multiple times both ways, so whatever opinions I do and don't have has not been affected negatively by changing up this tile bag. If anything, it's only been affected positively. Will it potentially affect game balance if you do something like that? Potentially. For us, it hasn't seemed to be a factor, though, and for us, it's made the game a lot easier to play and not have to sort through different phases and player counts of tiles as you go through it. As far as other game recommendations, if you like this, or if you're looking to see if you will like this, to me, Cascadia is going to be the best and brightest of the flat out games line of games that very much gives you that same aspect. Pick a terrain, pick an animal, go for that. This has the same idea. You're picking your terrain, although your terrain's a tile, and then picking an animal. And then Overboss from Brotherwise Games, if you're looking for a lighter experience in the same genre, will give you a similar but lighter experience. And that's basically it. That's Luna Capital from Devere Games. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, have a good one.